What if I told you that one cold November morning in 1917, a formation of British tanks rolled through the mist of northern France, and for a moment they shattered the greatest defensive line of the entire war? What if I told you that steel monsters crawled over wire and trenches, and for a few shining hours it looked like the First World War had finally changed? And then, just as quickly, that hope vanished in fire, smoke and steel. This is the First Tank War. This is Cambrai. Hi, I'm Matt, and this is Battlefield Legends, where we tell true stories of courage, sacrifice and survival from the battlefield. By late 1917, the Western Front has become a graveyard of hope. 3 years of trench warfare, millions dead, almost nothing gained. But hidden in secret workshops across Britain, engineers have built something new. A weapon designed to break the stalemate. A machine of steel, gears, ugly, loud and unstoppable. The tank. For the attack at Cambrai, the British assemble nearly 500 tanks, the largest armoured assault the world has ever seen. If it works, the war might finally change. If it fails, well, everyone already knows what failure looks like here. Before dawn on November the 20th, tank crews climb inside their machines. The hatches slam shut, and instantly they're trapped in darkness and heat. Engines roar behind them, fumes sting their eyes, sweat rolls down their backs. It doesn't feel like climbing into a vehicle, it feels like climbing into a metal coffin. At 6:20 AM, a signal flare cuts through the sky. The tanks move, hundreds of them. Steel giants grinding forward across frozen earth. On the German front line, sentries stare into the fog. At first nothing, then the ground begins to shake. Huge shapes crawl out of the mist. Machine guns open fire. Bullets spark and ricochet off steel armour. Shells explode against tanks' hulls. And still they keep coming. The German line shatters. Men run, some throw down their rifles, others simply stare in disbelief. For the first time in the entire war, the trenches are broken. Barbed wire is crushed flat, machine gun nests fall silent, bunkers crack open like eggs. British infantry surge forward behind the tanks. Cavalry prepares to pour through the gap. Villages fall in hours. Thousands of prisoners are taken. Ground is measured not in yards, but in miles. For a moment, a single glorious moment, it looks like the stalemate is over. But victory outside doesn't feel like victory inside the tanks. It's suffocating. Boiling. The air is thick with smoke and fumes. Every shell that hits the armour rings the entire hull like a gigantic steel bell. Some crews are blinded by fumes. Others choke, unable to breathe. The tanks look unstoppable, but inside, the men feel inches from death. Shock turns to anger. Anger turns to action. The Germans drag artillery forward, heavy guns, aimed straight at the tanks. Shells slam into steel. Some tanks explode in fireballs. Others break down in the craters of no man's land. Then come the stormtroopers, elite German infantry trained to infiltrate and destroy. They swarm through shattered trenches, cutting down isolated British units. What began as a breakthrough is now a brutal fight for survival. Still, the British have cracked the Hindenburg line, and word reaches the British commander, General Julian Byng. As the British push forward, their tanks begin to fail. Engines stall, tracks snap, fuel runs dry. Steel monsters become steel tombs. The Germans unleash a massive counterattack. Thousands of shells in a single day. Stormtroopers sweep forward. Machine guns mow down exhausted British infantry. Villages taken in the morning are lost by nightfall. By the end, the front line looks almost exactly the same as before it started. To some, Cambrai was just another blood-soaked failure. But appearances can lie, because Cambrai wasn't a failure. Not really. For the first time, tanks had broken wire, trenches and machine guns, the very things that made the Western Front a fortress of death. Generals across Europe took notice. The age of cavalry was over. The age of armour had begun. 2 years later, tanks, aircraft, artillery and infantry would work together to smash German lines and end the war. Cambrai didn't win the war, but it showed how to win it. Hundreds of men climbed into steel ovens and drove straight into the most fortified positions in Europe. Some burned alive, some suffocated, some never escaped the metal tomb they fought in. But because of them, the future of warfare was born. Some say Cambrai was a revolution, others it was a disaster. So what about you? Was this the moment that tanks proved themselves? Or was it all for nothing? Let me know in the comments. Hit like and subscribe for more Battlefield legends. And when you're ready, watch this next story. It's even more unbelievable. The battlefield never forgets, and neither do we. Until the next battle, thanks for watching.